Hello and welcome to Joy in Our Town. I'm Cheri Duckworth, and joining me today is Miss Coretta Turner. She's with 3D Voice Creator and she's a communication coach. Thank you for coming today.
Oh, thank you for having me here today.
It's so nice to talk with you, and I'm so excited about today's topic. And it's for us to talk about parents communicating with their children and working with our kids and helping them to be confident communicators. And that makes me excited as a parent.
Yes.
And for the parents watching today, I hope that they enjoy this segment too. You have a term here that you sent us called the muting of a child, and I find that very interesting. What does that mean?
The muting of the child, basically it is those subtle things that parents do to take their child's voice. And the two primarily that I noticed, the first is calling their child shy. Because to me, it gives a child permission not to have a voice and to just blend into the woodworks. And then the second thing that I've noticed with parents and adults of influence, because those of us who don't have children, we have nieces, we have grandchildren, we're teachers, so we have influence in a child's life. But speaking for a child, and I think about how often have you ever asked a child, well, how old are you? Oh, he's 13. And I was like, wow, you'd think by 13 he'd be able to articulate that himself.
Yes.
But in reality, it didn't start at 13, now did it? It started here, and it got to the point where the child just lets mom or lets dad answer for them. And so you mute them and you take their voice.
Oh, that is so good. I love the shy, the labeling a child shy. To me, it's this label you put on them that they can hide behind and say, okay, well, I'm shy, so I don't have to talk and I don't have to answer because I'm shy, and that follows them as they get older.
Well, in my class, I do not allow the children to use the word shy. I give them a new phrase. And it's very interesting because I'll open up and I'll say, well, all the shy children raise their hands. And these hands go up and I say, today is the last day you use that word. Because sometimes parents don't know the appropriate word to use and they give you shy. So you may be an introvert. But today's word in going forward is socially selective. Because you choose who you want to engage with and how you want to engage them. And you know there's power, right, in the choice.
I like that.
So it's all about empowering the voice of the child. And so it may be that I just don't want to talk to them right now. Now, I don't promote being rude. There's a hello, but you don't have to really engage past that. It's choice, it's power.
Choice. So teaching them, we want to use our manners,
Yes.
but going beyond that is not always necessary.
Yeah.
I like that. And I love the idea too of don't answer for your child. Somebody asks them a question, let them answer.
Yep.
Give them time to to develop that skill. It's so important socially to be able to answer questions when asked. So
Very much so.
Oh, I love that. That's great. I'm already encouraged. This is wonderful. How did you come up with the idea to teach public speaking?
Oh, now, I didn't have that idea. That was totally a God thing. But it started when I was asked to speak to a group of 6th, 7th, and 8th grade girls. And I saw this child who, oh my goodness, she reminded me so much of me. She talked a lot, and she was just, but I watched her language. And I said, that's not her voice. That is a voice that she's heard someone else impose upon her. And then I looked at some of the other girls in the class, and when I would speak to them, they wouldn't make eye contact with me. And I said, I know that there is a different way. I've done the public speaking. I know the confidence boost, and they need that. And if you can give that to a child this early. And the other thing that I like to put in there, I have children discover their strengths. And we introduce them by their strengths. And so when the child knows who they are and they hear someone else introducing them by the amazing, the great, the spectacular, and you build this thing up.
Fabulous.
And then they come and they present, they take on a whole different character. The authentic them come out, because when they do these introductions, they are the ones writing the words. And so though they may not have ever told anybody that, these are the words that they're using to describe themselves, and now they get to hear someone else bring it to them. So it's very exciting to see.
It's great. What are your reasons for teaching children public speaking? What are what are your thoughts on the importance of teaching this to our kids as a skill?
Well, you know what? I was reading a statistic that said that 75% of children who have phones are texting. So we're losing this interpersonal communication skill because we're all here.
Oh, it drives me crazy. We go to a restaurant, everyone's doing this, or we're all sitting around in the living room as a family, and everyone's on their phones or their pads, and oh, it's so frustrating. I just want to go, everybody put your phones down now and look up at each other, please.
Make eye contact with each other so you don't have to do that. And then you've been muted, and so now you hide behind here, and then the bullying aspect comes because now you don't have to deal with the interpersonal reaction of how someone responds to what you're saying. But again, what I found is it's such a confidence boost. It's one of the top skills required by employers now to be effective communicators. Why wouldn't you set your child up to be able to do that and just empower them? When I talk to the children, I also tell them, you know what, I'm really not concerned about your career so much now. Your teachers are making assessments about you. When you're walking down the hall and you're shuffling your feet and you're looking at the ground, you could be the smartest child in the school. But when they need to send someone to represent the school, they're not looking at you because they're not confident that you can represent the school. It's about positively representing yourself and empowering yourself, and not making yourself a target. Because again, when you start to see the children who are shuffling their feet and they're looking down and they're shy, those are the ones that people are going to target. And so when you are an effective communicator, it sets you up for leadership because people need to be able to understand the vision that the leader is communicating on whatever level.
Right. I'm still going back to, I love the term socially selective because it does empower that child so much to know that they have a choice. And so many of our kids don't really feel like they do. Yeah. It's that whole taking their voice away from them. They feel like, well, it's up to the adult in my life to tell me what to do, what not to do. So the fact that they have a choice in the matter just never really enters their mind. So I love that, and I love the thought of teaching them to speak so that they can be a representative, of whatever they're doing, the school, their family even. What a great feeling it is to send your child off somewhere and to get feedback that, oh, your child was so talkative, or they were so well-mannered, and they were able to socialize and to speak clearly. And as a parent, you feel so proud, when you hear that. So I just think it's wonderful what you're doing for our kids out there. It's definitely empowering them. And in this unfortunate time where there's so much bullying going on, to help kids to be able to speak up for themselves is such a big thing. It really is. It's wonderful. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for doing this. I'm so glad that you do. Parents, as a parent, as adults involved in these kids' lives, how do you encourage them to teach the child or to address the issue of someone who has a hard time with speaking?
Well, first of all, what I tell the students, I don't expect that you'll talk to 500 people. That's not what it is.
Sure.
This is about being able to be empowered to do that. And sometimes it looks like speaking to your parents about it. It's funny, I had parents come to me and they said, my child told me not to call them shy. They told me they're socially selective. And
I love that.
And now imagine what this looks like now, because my goal is to change the way families communicate. So evidently that conversation had not happened before, but even the boldness of that child to say that to their parent now goes to show that there is a change that's happening and that the parent is acknowledging their role in it. What the other part of that is, it's about be very mindful of the words you use when you speak to your child.
Yes.
I was speaking to a parent group once, and a parent came back to me and she said, oh my goodness, I was telling my daughter, stop acting like that. People are going to think you're special. But she realized the tone and the way that she said it took on another connotation, and she had to pull back and realize, what am I saying to my daughter? This special that should be this great, unique thing, she's made a negative just by her tone.
Ouch.
But it was because she said, I remembered what you said. So it's about the words that you use to even describe your child. Remember what I said? I have the children come up with lists of words that they believe they are. I have them complete an I am statement. And how about you do a list about your child. My child is, Sarah is, Jonathan is. And then you share that with your child and you have the discussion about what that means. Give them new words to empower themselves.
I love that.
Because they don't know all of the words, you know,
Right.
because no one said it to them.
Wow, that is really helpful for parents that are watching today. It's helpful for me as a parent. It makes me want to go home and sit my girls down and go, okay, this is what you are to mommy, you know? And I just love that because these are things that we can do right now, today. It doesn't require a lot of prep time or, you know, special work. You don't have to go to the internet or the library and do any research. This is just from your heart. And we do hear parents so much say, you know, my child won't talk to me. You know, they don't want to communicate with me. And what a great way to open that up. You know, it's such a positive way to do that. What other feedback do you give parents when they do come to you and say, you know, my kids don't want to communicate, they don't want to talk to me, you know, they hide out in their room. How do you encourage them to kind of open it up to where they can communicate with each other?
You know what, it's having the conversation with the child to understand that when you come in, I'm going to ask you about your day. And I don't know is not an acceptable answer. It's not. I tell my niece, use your words.
Yes.
I don't know. I said, imagine if you did know. You know, it's about engaging the conversation further, knowing you are not leaving here until we get an update on what happened at school today or how it made you feel. But you know, it's the setting up of the parameters. This is going to be the expectation every day. You know, I'd like your input on how you think we should work it out. You know, does it need to start off as 5-10 minutes or whatever? But the other part is getting them engaged in it so that it doesn't feel painful. And maybe you start small, 5 minutes. Know that I'm going to expect an update. We're going to have a 5-minute conversation. I want to know what were your highlights at school today? What were the things that weren't so great?
And that was going to be my next question is, what questions should parents ask? You know, should they ask, how was your day? What did you do? What if they don't know what to say to their child?
You know what? I think you know each of your children, and so you wouldn't ask necessarily the same questions. If you're going to ask about school, that's one thing, but talk about the things that are interesting to them. And if, as a parent, you don't happen to know, then that's a place to start.
Find out.
Find out, you know, it's really interesting. I had a parent come to my class once. She drug her child in and she was talking for him the whole time. And she was like, we're just so excited to be a part of this class. And I looked at him with his basketball. I said, why are you here? And he said, your mom made you come. You don't see the whole value of this public speaking thing, do you? No. But I had the conversation with him apart from his mom because she stood there. But I wanted to I understand that you don't want to be here. This is probably not the highlight of your day. But I started to talk to him about, what do you want to be? Basketball player? I said, yeah. I said, you know, I bet you're pretty smart. And as a basketball player, you're probably going to want to be a role model. And so that means you're going to have to talk to and encourage other young men, right? You know, that's public speaking.
That's great.
You know, and just framing it in a context that's going to be important to him. You ever heard of a press conference? That's public speaking. Ever heard of Magic Johnson?
Exactly.
You know, and so it puts this in this context for him. You know.
What you're doing is wonderful for kids. I mean, you're really helping them take a life skill and just building their confidence and helping them to be able to be just amazing young people in our society, because public speaking is important. Being able to have a conversation, having eye contact with someone, and for them to just be able to say, you know, how are you? I'm doing well, thank you. How are you? Can make such a huge difference in their lives, and they don't realize it. So I want to thank you so much, Coretta, for what you're doing and for teaching our kids. And 3d-discovery.com is the website if anyone is interested. And I hope we'll check that out. Thank you for being here today, and thank you for watching Joy in Our Town.